All right, hey everyone, Andrew here with Nashville Severe Weather. We got the whole crew here. Got Graham and Will and David, and we're here to talk about a severe thunderstorm warning that is about to be issued for Davidson County, and this is going to be for that cluster of storms that was over in Clarksville area a little bit ago and has moved southeast. They let the warning expire, but winds have ticked up again, and they're going to go ahead and issue again a severe thunderstorm warning. And this time will include Davidson and Robertson, so it will include the areas of Davidson County north of probably roughly north of I-40. We'll see when the polygon comes out where that's going to be, but they are going to reissue that severe thunderstorm warning. So this is going to be for folks, especially downtown. We're thinking of Tomato Fest. We're thinking of other outdoor activities going on in Davidson County in particular, and you guys are going to want to be going inside. So you're going to want to be heading inside a sturdy structure, and definitely be away from the lightning in a lightning safe place, but also we could have some strong gusty winds, straight line winds coming through here as well. So that's what we're going to be looking at with this. The tornado threat is pretty low with this. We're not concerned about that. It would shock us if we saw a developing tornado out of this, but a primary threat is going to be strong gusty winds, very heavy rain, and a lot of cloud-to-ground lightning. So we've gotten a lot of reports off to our northwest of cloud-to-ground lightning that is pretty significant. So that's what we have coming in back to our west and is headed down southeast. We'll be coming through both counties here shortly. Here's the severe thunderstorm warning. It will include Cheatham, Davidson, Robertson, Sumner, and Wilson. And so that's going to be roughly areas north of 40. We'll see that polygon pop up here in just a second. So Williamson County down to the south, you'll get storms too. They're just going to be a little bit behind what's going to happen in Davidson. So severe thunderstorm warning for Davidson County, and that's going to be for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And you can expect damage if those 60-mile-per-hour winds affect you in particular. You can expect some trees to come down, power lines to come down, and that kind of thing. So this is in effect until 11:45. So there's your polygon, again, roughly north of I-40, but this does include downtown, East Nashville, Tomato Fest folks. You guys are going to want to pack it up, get to a safe place. So whatever you need to do to get things prepared there, you're going to want to do it quickly if you haven't already, as these storms come in and have the potential to wreck stuff, especially outdoor event stuff. So you want to be sure that you get inside with this cluster of storms coming in. So let's check velocities here. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds, and here's our velocities. And sure enough, especially up here in Robertson County, but I want to sort of extrapolate these blue pixels, which is 60-mile-per-hour winds roughly. Let's go ahead and extrapolate those down a little bit. It's sometimes it's a dangerous thing to try to pinpoint exactly where 60-mile-per-hour winds are based on radar. That's a radar beam shooting up into the storm. So let's just assume that anywhere in this polygon we could get 60-mile-per-hour winds. Now, radar is indicating the biggest possibility of those is right up here around Coopertown Road and Baxter Road up here in the far northwestern side of Davidson County right now. But these are moving down to the southeast, so that could be affecting Bakers, Ivy Point, Luton's, Millersville, Goodlettsville, as far south as Old Hickory Boulevard and Davidson County up on the north side, where Davidson Academy and Good Pasture and all those schools are up there on the north side. And so that's where this is. But it does stretch down into downtown. It does include Hermitage, Donaldson, over on the east side, Percy Priest Lake. So Nashville Shores, the marinas there along the Percy Priest Lake, Percy Priest Dam. So anybody might be fishing down there up on the lake, having a good time today. Storms are coming in, and they could be pretty strong, and the lakes turn into a bad deal when you get winds this strong coming through. They can get pretty choppy in a hurry. New severe thunderstorm warning now. That's going to include really pretty much the rest of Davidson County and northern Williamson County. And that's going to be for Fairview, Franklin, Brentwood, all the way over toward Nolensville, and does include parts of Davidson County like Bellevue, Oak Hill, West Meade, the Belmont area, 440. Anyway, pretty much the rest of Davidson County up there. So 2 severe thunderstorm warnings now. We started with 1, now we have 2, and it includes a good chunk of our population. Most of our population now is under a severe thunderstorm warning until, let's see, this one's going to be in effect until, the southern one's going to be in effect until noon. Gracious. So the southern one's going to be in effect until noon, and then the one up here in the north is going to be in effect till 11:45. Not a big difference there, but just know that you're under severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds there in northern Williamson County and then most of Davidson County. So let's talk about a couple of things here. Tell you what,
Andrew,
before
I've
we
got
do that,
ETAs that I just sent out. That you
okay,
might read
cool.
to people.
Yeah, David's over there on Twitter, and in fact, I was let me talk about that first. David's over on Twitter, or X, whatever the heck we're calling it these days. David's over there tweeting, and he's given some ETAs there. And so downtown looks about 11:40, 11:45 downtown, off the lakes, as he mentioned. And so we got a couple people on different things here today. Graham is over on Instagram. And, hey, man, what do you want us to do there as far as reports, Graham? And what's useful for you over there on that end?
Most useful thing for me is send me a direct message if you have any wind damage or hail reports. Please include your location if you can, but be safe doing so. Don't go out in this thing. But just get them over to us via direct message on Instagram.
Thanks, man. Yeah, direct message there on Instagram, and he'll get that your reports over to the Weather Service, and that's very helpful for them. We have an area here in eastern Dickson County of some enhanced winds that seem to be holding together in the past couple of scans, upwards around of 60 miles per hour, and that's more than likely what this warning was issued for southern Davidson and northern Williamson. So 60 mile per hour winds possible there in eastern Dickson County. And TB&A, the Weather Service is noting that TB&A radar is showing winds up to 75 miles per hour aloft. Uncertainty as far as how much of that is reaching the ground there in eastern Dickson County, but nonetheless, 75 miles per hour aloft could translate to some severe winds down at the surface, and we're seeing some of that here on the Weather Service's radar. Definitely some strong winds possible in eastern Dickson. So that's what this warning is for southern Davidson, northern Williamson. Strong winds, again, continue to be possible up in northwestern Davidson County. And so we're watching that very carefully. And I'm also watching very carefully this little enhanced area of wind along, that's going to be, is that Clarksville Pike? Right up there south of Marrowbone Lake. Gonna have to watch this a little bit as it crosses Clarksville Pike and Whites Creek Pike and I-24. Just a very small area of possible rotation there, just between Beeman Park and Marrowbone Lake. That'll be crossing Clarksville Pike, Whites Creek Pike, and then I-24 soon. We're going to keep an eye on that. Because we don't want that to. But there's an area of some enhanced winds, a little bit of velocity weakness on the north side of that could indicate a little bit of rotation there. So we're going to watch that. But nonetheless, anywhere up and down that line in northern Davidson County could have some 60 mile per hour winds. All right. Let's see. I'm going to set up a couple of screens over here. All right, if you're in northern Davidson County, I would say be in a safe place from the winds. You want to be in a sturdy structure away from trees, power lines, that kind of thing. And yeah, they're in the latest radar scan. That little couplet area kind of disappeared, so not really a big deal there anymore. Still some strong winds there crossing Whites Creek or Clarksville Pike, approaching Whites Creek here in the next few minutes. and then moving over toward I-24. So some, let's see, what is that? That's going to be about 50, 55 mile per hour winds being indicated on radar there. And those are all moving east. Will is overtaking reports on Twitter, and so the traditional way of getting reports to us still works, right, Will? Hashtag T-Spotter, and that's useful for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I sent a message a little while ago asking if you see damage from wind, you see hail, similar to what Graham said. If you see flooding or any other storm impact, let us know using hashtag T-Spotter on Twitter. We take those reports and can get them to the Weather Service really quickly and give them the information that they need to warn downstream and make sure they have all that ground truth info. So if you do see something, take a picture of it, make sure you include your location, and put it on Twitter using hashtag T-Spotter. We'll get it and get it into NWS chat.
Thanks, Will. David's over on Twitter. He's continuing to get the message out for those that are checking stuff there. Our Twitter feed, even if you don't have a Twitter account, is always available on our website. So go up there. I believe it's under resources. You can hit latest tweets, and you can see the tweets even if you do not have a Twitter account there. And then we are live here during severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings. And so we appreciate you joining here with us. 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, one for northern Davidson County, one for southern Davidson and northern Williamson counties, both for 60 mile per hour winds. And the area of concern in northern Davidson County at the moment appears to be, it fluctuates, and anybody within the yellow polygon here is at risk for severe winds. And so it fluctuates where exactly those show up from time to time. And right now they're around Joelton and then down to the south along Whites Creek Pike. And we're in velocity mode here on the radar, which shows the wind velocities as it relates to the radar site, which is over in Old Hickory. And so we're seeing some strong winds coming crossing I-24 now. From about Clarksville Pike, Whites Creek Pike, off to the north. And so Ivy Point, Greer Road, the Bakers community, Freeman Hollow community, west of Goodlettsville, those are the folks getting the wind now between Goodlettsville and Joelton, down to Old Hickory Boulevard and Briley Parkway on the north side of town. So some of the strongest winds inside this warning are up in Robertson County coming through Greenbrier, which Greenbrier's had a hard summer. Those folks have had a lot of wind damage this summer with multiple rounds of storms, and it appears they've got another round of the strong winds today. So damage possible up there in Greenbrier. So if you're watching from Robertson County, definitely send in your reports using hashtag T-Spotter on Twitter. That's regardless of what county you're in. And we'll get those over to the Weather Service. Back to the west, we still have this area of enhanced winds right there along Highway 70 in Dixon County. That's approaching over there in that's approaching Highway 47, which runs from White Bluff off to Charlotte. And then so right around just around White Bluff, there's that intersection there with 47 and 70. It's got the McDonald's and areas like that. And that's right there's Camp Leatherwood off to the east there of Highway 47. That's right where the strong winds are and approaching right now. It's a pretty localized area of some strong winds, and that's moving east now. Through there. So if that continues east, it'll come through Cheatham County, come through western Davidson County or northern Williamson County, and anybody within the polygon here is at risk for some strong, damaging wind gusts. Weather Service notes that radar velocities continue to increase in southern Robertson and in Dixon, southern Cheatham counties. Inside these polygons, 55 to 65 mile per hour winds possible. And on the new radar scan, that wind persists right there around the intersection of Highway 70 and Highway 47 there in White Bluff. boy, Greenbrier, man, they're getting it again. So up here in Robertson County, these winds 65, 68 miles per hour up there in Robertson County. So that's just north of Ridgetop. So if you go out of Davidson County on Springfield Highway and you go up the ridge there, right when you get to the top of the ridge, you've got Ridgetop, and you keep going, you get Greenbrier, and that's where these winds of 65 to potentially 70 miles per hour are possible. And what a mess up there. So hopefully those aren't reaching the ground, but it's possible they are. So that's within the warning right now. Hey, Will, can you take it for just a second? Would you mind talking this through for just a minute? I'm going to bring up reflectivities on the radar, and if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just for 1 second. I'll be back in just a second.
So, like Andrew was saying, in Jolton, we have really, even starting right now, to see some purple on the reflectivity scan at the lowest level coming out of Old Hickory at about under 1,000 feet. That's 60 dBz reflectivity. That is really heavy rain. Frequent lightning is still an issue. This is the part of the storm that right now is the most intense. The good news is it looks like in downtown there's a little bit of thinning that you can see just west of 65 and just north of I-40, going through the Haynes Bottom, Bordeaux, Metro Center area. That section of storm is what we think is going to hit the Tomato Art Festival. So maybe those impacts are a little bit lessened, but the wind from the rain, but the wind is still going to be really serious. So looking at velocity scans, we can see still north of 55 mile an hour wind aloft, back towards White Bluff, where Andrew was mentioning earlier. Still seeing winds there about the same, right? So really heavy winds moving through those two particular spots. Moving east into the Davidson Academy, Skyline Village, Cedar Park Hill area, seeing some increased wind velocities there, but really the biggest ball of wind is up by Greenbrier, just north of the Davidson County line.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've switched to TB&A radar. Thanks, Will. I've switched to TB&A radar here. And so this is the Weather Service has noted this radar a few times, so I thought we'd switch over to it. So this is a radar out of Nolensville, and it's showing these winds that they're talking about up at about 63, 64 miles per hour. They're at about 1,000 feet off the ground. It's about 1,000 feet off the ground where this radar beam is. It's reading winds of about 63 miles per hour. So really, and it really defines the area here where you will see the winds pick up. All right, so from Cedar Hill Park, like Will was saying, and down toward Talbot's Corner with 2465 split, Metro Center, the Nations, TSU, you can really see pretty well where the line is, where the wind picks up. It looks like we'll have a new warning coming out here in just a second, and that's going to include some other areas of Williamson County, it looks like, and moving on down the line and toward Murray and Hickman counties as well. So looks like a new warning will come out here for southern Williamson County, and that'll come out here in just a minute. So we'll keep an eye on that. Strong gusty winds continue in both counties, anywhere within these yellow polygons, and the radar's getting a little bit messy here with just a bunch of warning polygons, but that's the way it goes. They're trying to pinpoint exactly where the strongest winds are, and as they develop, they're issuing warnings for these. Looking at chat here over at the Weather Service.
If you are downtown, you're out of time. You need to be inside an fully enclosed shelter. I know a lot of y'all are planning to spend the day outside. Don't do that. Don't stand next to a tall person or next to a tall building or under a pavilion so you don't get wet. You need to be in a fully enclosed shelter because there's cloud to ground lightning coming in behind this. Your umbrella isn't going to do you any good. It's going to blow the rain underneath the umbrella and destroy the umbrella itself, and the umbrella isn't going to help you if lightning strikes nearby. But that's a lot of wind, y'all. Get inside a restaurant, get inside a fully enclosed structure right now if you're downtown, because that wind is going to soak you out or worse.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So East Nashville, you're out of time. This thing's coming in. A lot of cloud to ground lightning with it, and it's loud. It's got a lot of rain with it, and you don't want to be in it. New severe thunderstorm warning now, as we were talking about, just came out for the rest of Williamson County. Pretty much. Let's go look at that. And that's going to be, it looks a lot like the others here, and this is going to cover south of Franklin toward Boston, Spring Hill, Thompson Station, over toward Page High School and Smarten and all those communities down in southwestern Williamson County. So a good portion of us now covered by severe thunderstorm warnings, the vast majority of our population now under severe thunderstorm warnings for 60-mile-per-hour winds and small hail. If you are at an outdoor event today, whether it's soccer, whether it is the Tomato Festival, whether it's whatever it is, if you're outside, you need to be inside in a hurry. And especially if you're up in Davidson County. You are out of time in Davidson County. If you're in Williamson County, you need to be moving toward inside now. So be heading that way now. Let's go back to TBNA and look at the velocities being indicated there. Strong winds up here on the order of 61 miles per hour possible around Skyline Village, Cedar Hill Park, Good Pasture Christian School, Skyline Hospital. Moving crossing 65 now over toward Amqui and Madison, and that's going to be Old Hickory Boulevard there. Going through Madison, that's your east-west, west-east highway there, Highway 45, Old Hickory Boulevard. And that's right where this is tracking. It's tracking right down Old Hickory Boulevard, crossing 65, and going to be crossing Gallatin Road here in just a little bit. Weather Service says winds are increasing all up and down the line of storms with widespread 50 to 60 plus mile per hour winds likely from all the way from White House up in Sumner County all the way down to Nashville, Fairview to southeast of Centerville. So everybody could be seeing winds that approach 60 miles per hour. Got an area here coming into southwestern Davidson County that's a little bit interesting. Right there at the Highway 96, Highway 100 area, little area of wind that's jutting out on the south side, 65 miles per hour. Velocity's a little weak on the north side. Could be some rotation there around Highway 96, Highway 100, crossing Highway 96 near the Natchez Trace Bridge here shortly. So Temple Hills, Laurelbrook, Grassland, Battlewood, areas like that. This is west of you. Pasco, as you go from Davidson down into Williamson counties. Small area of rotation there. Now, these typically have been short-lived, but we are going to watch it closely just to make sure that doesn't get any more organized there on the southwest side of Davidson County, right where Davidson and Williamson come together around Highway 96. So that's something worth watching there from TBNA, the radar over in Nolensville. Shooting back to the west. Down to the south, in southwestern Williamson County, winds definitely picking up there. 71 miles per hour being indicated in western Williamson County around Craigfield and Highway 840 or Interstate 840. So all the communities down there, Craigfield, Greenbrier, Smarten, Pinewood Road.
Ooh, the fair's still going on, isn't it?
I got a tweet going on it. Yeah, they've apparently they've shut down all the rides. If you're at the fair, get inside the Ag Center. It's the best place to be.
Yep.
The car is second best, but anywhere else other than inside the Ag Center in your car is a terrible decision.
Yeah, not in a trailer, not in an outdoor barn, but inside.
Dixon County is reporting trees down, blocking Highway 70 toward Tennessee City. So the wind reports coming out of here verify what radar's been showing, which has been the 60-mile-per-hour winds back there in Davidson County. That was a thing just a little bit ago, and apparently they do have trees down there in Davidson County as a result of these storms, as a result of these winds just a little bit ago. So again, we have a few pockets of wind here. TBNA is showing them very well. One's over here in Madison, crossing Gallatin Road between or around Madison and Amqui, and all the way up toward Rivergate Mall. Strong winds now being indicated there along Dickerson Pike, I-65, Cedar Hill Park, Amqui, Madison. And then down to the south, all the way through downtown and East Nashville. It has arrived at East Nashville now. And then looking down the line, we still have this area of kind of an interesting feature there right at the very, very southern tip of Davidson County and Williamson County. Not so much on the rotation side anymore, just some 60-mile-per-hour winds possible there around the Natchez Trace Bridge here in just a minute. And then Craigfield, Greenbrier, Smarten, Interstate 840, all these roads out here could have some very strong winds. Bradford Road, that's going to be Barn Hill Road, and State Route 46 there. I think that's Pinewood Road, if I'm not mistaken. Shoals Branch Road. So very strong winds there. Could be approaching 70 miles per hour, about 1,500 feet off the ground in western Williamson County. So these severe thunderstorm warnings mean business, and even if you particularly do not get 60-mile-per-hour winds, it's likely that somewhere around you will. So these warnings are good warnings. There is plenty of evidence to indicate, both on the report side and on the radar side, that we have 60-mile-per-hour winds coming through both counties in localized areas. So it's definitely worth paying attention to. Guys, I'm going to be watching this little area here pretty closely around the Natchez Trace Bridge.
I've been watching that too, Andrew. The latest scan came in. It kind of washed it out. Yeah. But it does look sus.
Yeah.
But I can't find any upper level support for what you're suggesting. So
yeah, this is not a
it's not a
classic tornado day. This is the atmosphere is not at all conducive. Sometimes we can get these little eddies here that form.
I think that's what it is. I don't think it's tornado.
Yeah, on the front end of these storms, we can get these little eddies that form and can kind of show some areas of enhanced rotation. No indication other than that this is a tornado threat, just an area of strong winds.
If you need 20 things to make a tornado, that's only one of them.
That's right.
The other 19 are missing, and you need all 20. So if you have a tornado phobia, don't worry.
Yeah.
It's just something to watch. Ooh, what's that?
That was cool. Nonetheless, 65-mile-per-hour winds are possible there. Around the Natchez Trace Bridge, that's going to be east of Fernvale, right there around Natchez Trace Parkway, crossing 96. That will eventually go over toward Hillsborough Road, Grassland, Battlewood, Legends Ridge, Fieldstone Farms, if it continues moving east and holds together.
You see this pocket next to just due west of Leaper's Fork?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a beast.
Oh my gosh.
That's a beast. That's a lot of wind. The radar indicating 80-mile-per-hour winds possible there around Pinewood Road and Interstate 840. This area of wind here on TBNA is a beast. And so if this is reaching the ground, this is most definitely going to
put that in motion. Did that microburst?
No, it's just.
It looks like it, but it doesn't. Well,
no, it didn't.
It's just an area of wind moving east with the line. So 80-mile-per-hour winds possible as it crosses 840.
That's right by where my mom lives, and I'm getting reports from her that it is crazy there. So
okay,
yeah.
Weather Service has increased the severity of the severe thunderstorm warning here in southwestern Williamson County. You see it flash, the polygon flashing there. That means that winds to 70 are possible.
Yeah,
And
that's being echoed from Weather Service forecasters in chat. Strongest winds currently Fairview, 70 mile an hour possible. And then it looks like emergency managers are also saying that they're starting to see some tree down reports. So another good time to talk about reports. I know we have a lot of folks following us on Twitter and watching us from that Fairview area. If you see trees down, power lines down, make sure you're safe. But once it's safe to do so, take a picture of it, send it to us using hashtag TSpotter on Twitter, or DM it to us on Instagram so that we can get those reports over to the Weather Service as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. And Graham, you're taking DMs on Instagram. Send him a message over there on Instagram if you've got a report there, and he'll get that over to the Weather Service also. They are definitely depending on reports today. Radar's doing a great job of picking up these winds, but they're wanting to see reports as well of exactly how these storms are behaving at ground level. And right now they're kind of misbehaving. Looks like it's kind of a mess. Let's go back over to TBNA. Again, the strongest winds appear to be on radar down here west of Leapers Fork, and that's going to be winds approaching 70 miles per hour, and radar is indicating that very well, 70 plus miles per hour there, crossing 840, coming right up Hewitt Road toward the South Harpeth and Old Highway 96 areas, Kingfield, Leapers Fork, Garrison Springs, Pinewood Road, Interstate 840. These are all areas that could see quite a lot of trees down. If there are 70 mile per hour winds down there, that will definitely cause damage. That'll cause damage, and it'll bring a lot of trees and power lines down. So we're going to be watching the power outage reports with Middle Tennessee Electric. Those are usually a good indication, at least along the roads where trees have come down or at least interfered with power lines in some way. So we'll be watching those. We'll be watching your reports, hashtag TSpotter on Twitter, direct message on Instagram, and we'll be able to see what's going on. David, did you have something? Oh, he's got his headset off. Gotcha. Okay, strong winds up here around Madison, Amqui, Rivergate Mall as well. So these winds, they could be approaching 65 miles per hour between Rivergate Mall, Amqui, Madison. We've been watching that area of wind for a while now. That's going to be over in Sumner County pretty soon, but probably not before going through Lakewood and Old Hickory. They're on the northeast side of Davidson County, so pretty strong winds possible up there. And then in downtown, still some strong winds west of downtown. So Bells Bend, The Nation, Scottsboro, Bordeaux, TSU, Sylvan Park. Still some pretty strong winds, at least aloft back there, even west of where the strongest, not on the front edge of these storms, but even behind that, back around Bells Bend and western Davidson County. Still some strong winds possible there as well. And then down here, Williamson County, of course, we've been talking about a couple of areas of very strong winds possible. Crossing 96 now, right around Settlers Point, Old Hillsborough Road, and moving toward Two Rivers, Whitehall Farms. That's crossing 96 now. So that's one area of strong wind. The other one down here around the Pinewood Road exit, and that's going to be for... that's going to be some strong winds there that we've been watching. In fact, it's had a history of being very strong on radar, and could be just a shave weaker now, but still could be on the order of 60 to 65 miles per hour there on Old Hillsborough Road, coming up on Leapers Fork here in the next few minutes. So if you're in Leapers Fork, I would be as far away from trees as you can inside a building. And don't be definitely don't be outside. I don't know why you would be right now. I think the rain's already arrived, but just be as far away from trees as you can. Looks like the winds have come down a little bit, at least according to radar. Pinewood Road, we kind of hope these winds wash out, and it looks like they might be in some form or fashion there. All right. So West Haven, Whitehall Farms, Founders Point. Winds kind of ticking up a little bit. They're coming right down 96 into West Haven.
Yeah, multiple reports on Highway 100 in Fairview. Power lines down, blocking the road. Tree down, blocking the road. So it sounds like that's going to verify pretty well for what just came through Fairview.
Yeah, that I think you're right, and it looks like. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I see what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, so really, well, it's why we have these polygons. Anywhere within these polygons could have wind damage. Strong winds now approaching. That's going to be Old Charlotte Pike, right there around Del Rio, Old Charlotte. That little kind of funky intersection there, north of 96. That's right where some strong winds are indicated, 65 miles per hour on radar. That's going to be kind of hugging the 96, Franklin Green, Jim Warren Park, Founders Point areas. If you're at Jim Warren Park, you need to be inside. Do not be outside at Jim Warren Park. And again, the rain is
includes the
there.
Williamson County Soccer Association. I know that the games have been canceled there, but if you're still lingering talking to somebody, now is the time to not be outside.
Yes,
Yeah, there's
and not in a
also-
pavilion.
I think
Yeah.
there's a football jamboree at Jim Warren Park as well.
Yeah, all that area, if you're there or you know somebody who's there, it's about to get real bad real fast. So let's get inside.
Yeah, pavilions are no good. Get inside a building, or in your car if you're away from everything, as far as trees and that kind of thing. But you need to be not outside at Jim Warren Park. Downtown Franklin, same thing. Getting stored.
Wow.
Feeling a little electrified there, Will?
Yes, that was very close and very loud. Could y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Pretty
sure.
good, right? Yeah.
Strongest winds now are over Founders Point, Spencer Hall, Carlisle, Claremont, Westfield Estates, Rogershire, Cornerstone, those neighborhoods right there around Highway 96 west of downtown Franklin. Again, Jim Warren Park. It's going to be coming across Hillsborough Road, Franklin High School, Chestnut Bend, downtown Franklin, and then we'll be continue to move southeast across downtown Franklin. So power outages possible, and trees down, all that kind of good stuff. Man, so that's going to be could be a mess there in downtown Franklin. Here's the newest scan, and right there around Glass Lane, Magnolia Drive, Del Rio Pike. So that's going to be right there around the cemetery, and crossing Hillsborough Road, really coming right through downtown Franklin. So very strong winds coming through downtown Franklin here in the next minute or two, and they could be winds 65 miles per hour there in downtown Franklin. So that's entirely possible. So that's one area of wind we're watching, and honestly, that's the strongest area of wind we're watching right now. The one down in southwestern Williamson County has sort of washed out, and the north of that, in fact, the Weather Service is letting the warning expire up on the north end of Davidson County. They'll let that expire because winds have come down there in northern Davidson County, so they're going to let that warning expire here in the next little bit. In fact, there it goes. That warning's gone. So the warning north of downtown Nashville is gone. The two we have left here are Berry Hill, Oak Hill, Brentwood, down to Franklin, and Thompson Station. So let's talk about downtown Franklin. TBNA radar showing very strong winds coming through downtown Franklin right now. 60 mile per hour winds, a good possibility coming right through the middle of downtown Franklin. We would love to have reports, by the way. Will's going to be watching for those.
We're getting them.
Are we in downtown Franklin?
Power outage in South Hall, Carter's Creek, downtown of Franklin. Tree down reports as far south as Columbia, as far west as Fairview. So yeah, seeing some reports come in for sure.
Okay. Moving east of downtown Franklin will be this area of strong winds. It'll be crossing Eddy Lane, Ralston Lane, and that's going to be Mac Hatcher. So
I'm, I'm watching one of the cameras on Fox 17 downtown, and it is absolutely torrents of water on Broadway downtown. So, David, good on you for giving those folks such a long lead time on that warning. It does not look like a place I'd want to have a tent set up.
hey, Will, check chat if they got a question for you.
Yeah, got it.
Let's go back over to our other radar here real quick and just kind of get a wide view of what's going on here. So heavy rains stretching from Sumner County down to downtown Nashville. The warning has expired up there, and so no severe weather is currently expected from Joelton, Skyline Hospital, Old Hickory, Lakewood, over to Nashville Shores, even though it's a mess. A lot of rain up there. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect from downtown Nashville, Oak Hill, Brentwood, down to Franklin, Cool Springs, over toward Nolensville. And then severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect south of Franklin, Henpeck Lane, Page High School, Thompson Station, Spring Hill, back over toward Greenbrier. So heavy rains there, strong winds possible, particularly in downtown Franklin. And that should continue pushing down Highway 96, approaching Arrington, Triune, maybe even Cool Springs, McKay's Mill, Williamson Medical Center, Trinity, and crossing Wilson Pike here in a little bit. So those strong winds are right over here in Franklin right now, crossing Mac Hatcher and 65.
About to lose power here. All the UPSs just started flashing.
And my new one hasn't come in yet, so if I take a blip here, I'm going to be gone. So
Okay, so if you take a blip, I'm going to log out as me and log back in to the studio as you so I can control the graphics.
Okay. Sounds good. Currently, I'm not seeing anything crazy wind-wise headed toward me, so we'll see.
Andrew, look at the last TBNA scan.
Okay.
Northwest of downtown, or northeast of downtown Franklin.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So enhanced winds continue, and what can happen is on the northeast side of Franklin here, what can happen is when you have these winds pushing out pretty strongly in one area, there can be a little velocity weakness on the north side of that, which kind of forces the wind to come back in. The atmosphere is a fluid, and we won't go into too much of that, but it's like when you push water in, it's replaced by water on the back side of it. So
No, that is
wind's
not
kind of
convective rotation.
No, it looks like it's ingesting a bunch of wind,
Yes.
probably underneath the storm.
Yeah.
A lesser weather person may see that and say, "Oh, that's convective rotation." It is not.
Yeah. So it looks like, and what that could do actually is sometimes that can enhance the hail threat a little bit. And we're not seeing real large hail today, but you could get a little bit of hail out of that around Franklin. So sometimes those little areas of small areas of weak rotation can even just a little bit enhance the hail threat. So wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of hail, but again, we're not seeing real big threats of that today. Let's go up and down the line here with TBNA and just sort of see what we're looking at here. Nashville Shores, you can kind of see this wind shift line that stretches from Percy Priest Lake, Elm Hill Marina, right on top of the lake, Nashburg Golf Club, down toward Antioch and approaching the Cane Ridge area.
Big new severe thunderstorm warning. Huge polygon just issued.
All right, let's see. Let's go back over to it.
It's big in terms of the amount of area it covers, not
Oh, okay.
in terms of it being like a 7,000 mile per hour storm.
New severe thunderstorm warning for eastern Davidson County and eastern Williamson County. And this is going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds, sort of the standard stuff we've seen here over the past little bit. This is going to include the Old Hickory Lakewood area down to Donaldson, down to Percy Priest Lake, now included in a new severe thunderstorm warning. Lakewood Village, Cane Ridge, Laverne, Antioch, all the way down into Williamson County, Burke Hollow, Nolensville, Cool Springs, McKay's Mill. All right, so new severe thunderstorm warning in effect that'll take us out for a while. This is in effect until 12:30, and so that's for 60-mile-per-hour winds and possibly some small hail. Let's go back over to TBNA. Since we're talking about winds, this is the best place to look at velocities for us down here in Williamson County, and continuing to see some winds around Williamson Medical Center, McKay's Mill, Trinity Park that could be strong. Not seeing as many blue pixels in here, which would indicate 60-mile-per-hour winds, but we are seeing some right here around Waller Road, right here in East Brentwood, West Nolensville, that could be 55 miles per hour. Not seeing quite as many 60s as we were earlier. So green color is better than bright blue pixels. So still some strong winds possible, though, coming into Nolensville and on the east side of Franklin. Moving up the line here, some strong winds possible here around Percy Priest Lake and up around Earhart Road, Stewart's Ferry Pike. And we're going to go over to the Weather Service radar and look at velocities up that direction. Let's do that. Here's the Weather Service radar. And some strong winds continue, but again, I'm not seeing too many pixels in the way of 60-mile-per-hour winds. I'm seeing a couple of 50s, but still, nonetheless, could see some winds strong enough to bring down trees, as we are seeing reports of that. Seeing a lot of reports of trees down. All right.
It's okay, buddy. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay, buddy.
Are you comforting your dog?
Yeah,
Freaking out?
he has a hard time. It's all right, buddy.
Okay, so large tree down near the factory in Franklin. That does look like
that coffee was cold.
Mature hardwood tree. So that is for sure a new report from that wind gust complex that went through the Franklin area and is now east of Franklin, going through Cedarmont Trinity Park, nestled down. About to be to you, Andrew.
Bring it on.
Near Nolensville.
Here it comes.
You have your generator on?
I do not. 1,164 meters out in Middle Tennessee Electric's area, which includes most of Williamson County. Some pretty large outages here west of Franklin. About 1,164. That's about 1% of the county in Williamson. About 1% of the meters out in Williamson County. Let's see about outages in NES's area. About 1,700 customers without power. The vast majority of those are up in northwestern Davidson County. A pretty big chunk of northwestern Davidson County is without power, actually, from south of Joelton back to the western side of Davidson. And that's about it for Davidson. So really one big outage for Davidson and a few smaller ones.
Including David.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, David's without power, so it happens.
Later, David.
Yeah, we'll be seeing him later. Yeah, so it's approaching me. Hopefully it is dark as night outside my window. So it's coming. Let's go back over to TBNA. the wind has crossed TBNA now, so that's why you see it turning from red or green to red. Green is wind going toward the radar. Red is wind going away from the radar. So when it crosses the radar site, they're right there around the Burkett Place subdivisions where that radar is. And yeah, there's some winds right there, 58 miles per hour, that just crossed the radar site. So this is right in the backyards of those folks there in the Burkett Place subdivision off of Kidd Road in Nolensville. And when wind crosses that radar, it turns red. So, and some pretty strong winds indicated there. So 58 miles per hour, just about 40 feet above the radar. Oh yeah, it's picked up at my house. Whoa, there it is. It's here.
Yeah, I got high wind reports from Lenox Village, Nolensville, Eastern Davidson, or Eastern Williamson. So yeah, I believe it.
We got new warnings coming out. Let's go look at those, and I'll stay here as long as I can. If I lose power, I'll have to pivot as well. But we have new parts coming for my backup power. So my backup power is not in great shape at the moment, but new parts are on their way. So we'll just make it until then. New severe thunderstorm warning now for southern Williamson County, northern Murray, and all the way down to Marshall and Bedford counties and into Rutherford. So they're just they're following this line of storms east with new warnings now, and that one will be in effect until 12:30. Yeah, the roar in these trees is pretty impressive outside my house. Let's take a look at TBNA again. Looks like there are some little areas, and we've been following these little annoying areas of small circulations. One of them's over here toward moving into Wilson County. Another one here is moving into into Rutherford County. And
You seeing the chat?
yeah. There's just these small areas that we've talked about of just a little bit of annoying rotation. They haven't been too impressive, but the Weather Service is watching those as we have been. And again, this is just not a very tornado conducive day. But to get a quick spin up out of one of these would not be completely out of the realm of possibility. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on that. As we have been the whole time. Okay. You know, it's funny. These storms they look at the kind of at the base level, they look less impressive just here on reflectivity than they did earlier. That, you know, back in the Tennessee River area, northwestern Middle Tennessee, they were bright red, tons of rain, flash flood warnings in there. Yeah. And they look less impressive at a just a high level glance of radar, but they are not less impressive when it comes to the wind. So the winds are still a thing. So you may be looking at a radar app on your phone or something and be like, man, these things are just falling apart. Well, they might be east of us. They may fall apart. But at the moment, they're dropping a lot of wind. And so what you have to do is you have to go to your velocities and look and see how velocities are behaving. And that's what we look at something like this. This is velocities. And yeah, I see what they're saying. There's just these little areas here of small rotation, just some enhanced velocities there. And they're watching those. But these are little areas of maybe 65, 70 mile per hour winds. Moving over there into Rutherford County. So the velocities are really what we're watching today.
Yeah, I do not believe the. I believe that there was a big blast of wind that came through the Percy Priest area. Reports corroborate that. People saying that it sounded crazy and the trees were all blowing around. There could have been a little whiff of rotation, but I don't think it was anything more than that. I think it was really a straight line wind event that came through there.
All right, we're down to 2 severe thunderstorm warnings here, and they both expire at 12:30, and that's for basically downtown Nashville down to Franklin and over to the east. Now my winds have calmed down here.
Same here.
Quite a bit after the initial front came through. So when the winds picked up, they picked up real strong for just a little bit, and then even though we're just now getting the real heavy rain, the strongest winds didn't last all that long. So that's good. Maybe the winds are just here on the front, and that's kind of what we're seeing here. Over here in Rutherford County, strongest winds. David, can you take? Will, can you take Twitter?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. It looks like the strongest winds are now pretty much down here in Rutherford County and then southeastern Williamson County. Again, send in your reports. You're doing a great job of this. We probably will see it on our replies in Twitter, but it's even better if you send your reports over to use hashtag TSpotter on Twitter. That's the best way for us to see your reports. The best reports you can send are if you can send us any damage. So. Trees down, power lines down, something like that, some kind of damage from the storm. The reports that there's close lightning, or that or it's raining hard or something like that. That's not as helpful, but any reports of any damage are very helpful there on hashtag TSpotter. Looks like the Weather Service is going to start. They're going to start working on some of these areas of rotation east of us, and there may be some warnings coming out. I don't think those are going to include us, but there could be some tornado warnings come out there east of us for those areas of rotation in Wilson County and northern Rutherford. If you're watching us from there, in fact, there it is. There's your you're looking at. Let me go over to TBNA. So there's a new tornado warning for east of us. This does not include Davidson or Williamson counties, but there's 2 areas of rotation here in Wilson and Rutherford counties that include some areas of rotation there. So tornado warning now for southern Wilson, northern Rutherford, and that's for these 2 areas of rotation there toward that direction. So does not include us. Looks like some quick spin-ups possible there. That does not include us. We are in pretty good shape over here in Davidson and Williamson.
Wow.
Here's a look on the Weather Service radar. Again, we're looking over in Wilson and Rutherford counties here. Tornado warning for them over there. Quick spin-ups possible there. We saw these earlier over here. They really weren't developed, but they were over here in Davidson and Williamson, and we saw these small areas of rotation, and those are starting to develop a little bit more over there east of us. So they're issuing warnings over there. For us, it looks like the strongest winds are going to be right along this wind shift line that stretches from about McCandless Road, Triune, right around the castle there on the far corner of Williamson County on 840. That wind shift line stretches, you see the reds here, from about the castle down to the 31A, 41A split through College Grove, Cross Keys, Flat Creek, Comstock Road, Alisona. That's where the strongest winds probably will be, is right there along that wind shift line. At least that was my experience here where I live. And other than that, we're looking pretty good. We're looking pretty good at the moment. Let's see here. Look at our chat here on YouTube, see if there's any questions. Doesn't look like it. Let's talk about lightning activity on the backside of this. Somebody asked that question. It looks like this is our lightning view here. Looks like most of the new cloud-to-ground lightning strikes are going to be along the front end of this storm. So I know this is a lot of colors here. I apologize for that. But the white dots are new cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. They start to fade off as you go back around western Davidson County. Lightning is possible anywhere within the rain, but the highest concentration is going to be right here inside the brightest colors. But there still are some new lightning strikes up here in northern Davidson County. So even though the heaviest rain passes, don't totally discount lightning. But hopefully that'll decrease as time goes on. So as the storms get further away from you, your cloud-to-ground lightning strikes will decrease with time, it appears. All right, so let's zoom out just a tad here. Let's talk about what we got. We got 2 severe thunderstorm warnings for 60-mile-per-hour winds, and most of that is going to be on the far eastern sides of our 2 counties. So the warning covers back to 65 and back toward Franklin, but the highest threat for strong gusty winds is going to be on the eastern corners of our counties, both Williamson and Davidson at this point as the storms have moved east. The tornado warning that you see there is for Wilson and northern Rutherford counties. That is for some very small circulations that have gotten going that are very hard to warn on. The Weather Service says that brief spin-up tornadoes are possible inside that warning, but these are very, very difficult tornado warnings to issue because these spin-ups can happen quickly and then and then disappear in the next radar scan. So difficult to warn on, but they've issued that warning over there in Wilson and Rutherford counties. That does not include us. Our threat of tornadoes is nearly nil because these storms have now moved to the east of us as far as the area that we would see that kind of stuff happen in. I'm going to have to close this radar. Let me go to the other one. That one crashed on me. There we go. All right, so we'll go back to this one. The wind shift line now has pretty much overtaken all of our counties. So Holt's Corner, Alisona, College Grove, the last ones to see that wind shift line. Some strong winds possible there. Everybody else has seen the wind shift, and so the northern warning has been scaled back. Davidson County is no longer included in any severe thunderstorm warning, so all clear for Davidson and all clear for most of Williamson. All clear for most of Williamson. Just a very small part of southeastern Williamson County still inside the warning, but all clear for most of Williamson County, including downtown Franklin and off to the west and northwest. Let's see, they may be scaling back other warnings as well. Will, how are the reports coming?
They're coming in pretty quickly. I've seen a lot of damage. I think we're going to have a little bit of investigation to do as to whether or not there was a funnel cloud that went through Franklin. If you're in our Twitter replies, you can see that there are lots of people asking about that and saying they saw it. We'll investigate that a little bit more, but I think it's very unlikely that there was enough rotation for something like that to happen. Probably, again, straight line winds, which can be just as damaging, but straight line winds nonetheless. But lots of branches down, power lines down, trees down in areas like Franklin, Leapers Fork, Fairview, seeing some additional reports of tree damage in Antioch, where it looks like trees have come down on a few people's cars. So keeping an eye on that, but keep the reports coming in. Even post-storm, those reports really do help.
Yeah, for sure. And Graham is taking reports over there on Instagram as well. I see you just had one a minute ago, Graham, up in Whites Creek. What kind of stuff you seen on Instagram?
Yeah, I've seen some trees down. That's about it at the moment. So keep sending them in if you got them. Send them, DM us on Instagram. Yeah. Sorry
Cool.
if you hear my cat meowing in the background.
Yeah, the animals really don't like this stuff. So yes, severe thunderstorm warnings continue. Although I'm becoming more and more convinced that the strongest winds have exited both counties. Davidson County, you're all clear. The warning has been canceled for you. So 12:13 now. Got about another 15 minutes here for these warnings. But it looks like they are starting to trim counties out of the warnings, and that's good for us. That means the stuff's moving east. Bad news for those east of us. They're getting still getting those damaging winds we saw just a little bit ago, and they are also dealing with a couple of possible quick spin-up tornadoes there east of us. But we are quickly being trimmed out of severe thunderstorm warnings here in our area, so that's good for us. So yeah, continue sending in reports. You're probably going to see some trees down today as you get out and about this afternoon. Be careful doing that. It's easy, especially in some of the more rural areas. It's pretty easy to it's pretty easy to just round a corner and there be a tree down, and you're not expecting it. So be expecting to have some trees down as you turn some corners there as you drive, and just be careful out there. And you'll send those reports to hashtag T-Spotter on Twitter, and then send those direct messages over to Graham there on Instagram, and he'll get those over to the Weather Service. He's doing a great job of that already right now. Let's look at power outages and see how we're doing there. Only about 263 customers out in Middle Tennessee Electric's area. That is not even half of 1%. That's about a quarter of 1% of the customers in Williamson County. So power outages, power starting to come back on for folks in Williamson County. Davidson County, let's see, the number has doubled recently. That's up in the 10,000 range. 10,000 is a pretty big number for us. Looks like most of those outages are concentrated in Antioch and Cane Ridge and places like that on the southeastern side of the county. So the highest number of meters out in Davidson County appears to be in the Antioch and Cane Ridge areas and northern sides of Nolensville, over on the southeast side of Davidson County. Let's see here.
Yeah, for those of you that are in Rutherford County that are concerned about that tornado warning that was issued and now just shrank a little bit, check out Rutherford Severe Weather at Ruth Severe WX on Twitter. Doing a great job of covering that storm. Not something that we're really going to cover. It's outside of our counties. But Eric over there does a great job and has a great account.
Yeah, same for Wilson. Follow Wilson Severe Weather over there.
Yeah, I guess it's split.
Yeah, it's in both. Yeah, so Wilson is also covering that over there. So we're going to hop off of this live stream because the strongest winds have exited our counties. These warnings will be trimmed back. The polygons you see here, they'll be trimmed back. They expire here in a little over 10 minutes anyway, and they'll reissue. And they will not include Davidson or Williamson. Actually, Davidson hasn't had a warning now for a while, but they will exclude Williamson as this continues to move east. So strongest winds now appear to have exited both counties. So we're going to hop off the live stream. We're going to focus over on Twitter, focus on Instagram, focus on gathering reports and getting those over to the Weather Service so that they can log those and know where the strongest winds were and the heaviest damage. Anything else, guys?
That is it. Lingering rain following this for a couple hours. So don't be surprised if you hear another, maybe a rumble of thunder or two and see some lingering rain for the next hour and a half or so. But this should be all of the storm activity for the day.
All right. Well, y'all have a great day. We'll talk to you later. See you later on.